Hi, folks. This is the time of the year that you hate. It's called Setting Your Goals for 2023. We're going to have more about that right after this. Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Channel, Hard Money for Real Estate Investors. We are Carolina Capital Management, private lenders in the Southeast for real estate professionals. If you have a project you'd like us to take a look at, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, go to the Accredited Investor tab. Oh, and you must click it as well. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell.
Sit there and look at it.
Don't forget about Wednesdays with Wendy. Wendy sets aside 30 minutes per person to talk about anything real estate related. On Wednesdays, there's a link to get on her calendar. She's typically booked up pretty far in advance. So get in while the getting's good. Excuse me. So, Wendy, you had the QuestCon thing, and I'm pausing. I feel like the president when I'm reading a speech. Pause here. So tell us about it. How'd it go?
It was the whole event was incredible, but the panel was terrific. I was just so honored to be with the two panelists that I was on there with. That their brains are incredible. What was really cool is that we're all three lenders and we all three underwrite a little bit differently. And that's really what we talked about, were the different things that we look at. So you can still buy a recording from that event. So it's worth it. If you do that, it's well worth it.
Is there a URL that you know of where people can
I'm
go?
sure there is one, but no, I don't know of it. But if you get on QuestCon Live 2022 on of course, the internet, Google's it, as we say.
I'm pretty sure it'll materialize in our comment section.
That's exactly right. But that'll, and then you can buy it at a discount too with Carolina 15, I believe, is what we had. That. I'm sorry.
I said, sweet.
Yeah, that's me.
Not you, sweet.
Well, it pains me to see you guys with that background of, the beautiful
tropical
sunny shore. Yeah. It's cold here.
It was really tough to set out there this morning.
I feel bad for you guys.
Barefoot while, the sun, was just beaming over the water.
Just amazing how you guys constantly just take it for the team.
Those who don't know, we're in Fort Lauderdale at the Family Office event.
Yeah.
It's called the Family Office Club. There's ultra high net worth individuals here.
Yeah.
There's institutional investors, as well as people that are trying to raise capital and people who are trying to deploy it.
One of the great things, if you are interested in learning how to talk to or approach family offices, this is a great event because there's many panels with the managing partners of those family offices sitting there telling you what they're looking for and how they look at things. So it can give you an insight into how to approach a family office, which is a great resource for a lot of people when you're looking to, a little bit more than buying or selling one or two loans, kind of scaling.
Yeah. Quick tip, 1-pager and a 1-liner on what you do. They don't want to see a whole blown out email, your slide deck and all that. They're not going to look at it to get inundated with stuff.
Awesome. To explain just for a quick second what a family office is, because many people may not know.
Yeah, family office is just it's a aggregation of a family or multiple families and they typically have a minimum of 10 million net worth.
Well, chump change.
Most of them are probably closer to the 100 million plus mark, but minimum of 10 million to kind of make the metrics work to start a family office. And it basically just helps you propel your wealth forward through multiple generations so that you can create a legacy. I mean, that's really it.
Well,
Awesome.
most people that are in a family office or that start one, they want the money to last at least 5 generations.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, high net worth families tend to run out of money in 3. So it takes planning.
A lot of planning, a lot of money, but yeah, no, it's great to be here. We've enjoyed a lot of the connections and conversations and really the insights. I mean, on how to capital raise and how these, we sat in on a panel with 6 different family office members, and they were judging and rating the one-liners and the one-pagers that were submitted. And it's so interesting because you would get a range from a scale of 1 to 10. Someone would give it a 3. Another person would give it a 9.
Huh.
And it's because it's just knowing who you're talking to, because like a family office isn't a family office. They're all different and they're all looking for different things. So it's just knowing who you are, knowing your voice and setting it for that. And that's really it. And just being clear and concise.
Yeah.
Like, a one-liner should be a one-liner, not a one-paragrapher.
It was funny. They were judging this one that took up the whole freaking slide, and it was supposed to be a 1 line.
Yeah.
And it just went on and on and on. And the guy's holding up a 3. He goes, "Yeah, you could have stopped after the first 4 words."
Yeah. So it's been insightful. So really good, and the weather makes it a little more enjoyable.
Yeah. Poor guys.
Yeah, here's how I suffered. I had to come here and get into a t-shirt because I had already soaked through my dress shirt. Had to take off my sport coat because it was so hot walking over here.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that awful?
Yeah, that really is.
Well, and to segue this, a little bit into what we're talking about, goals. So one of our goals is to, partner up or source more capital from family offices. So that's why we're here to learn how they think, what they're looking for, because that's part of our long-term goal.
All right. Good segue.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get started with goal setting, however, we do have a little bit of breaking news to talk about. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. Haven't been keeping up with the news much this week, but I did see that the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, and the PPI, that's the Producer Price Index, all came in this week. And I'm not giving you exact numbers, but I can tell you that they were a little less than expected, which is
better than expected.
Yeah, less inflation than expected.
Right.
And it's kind of given us an indication that maybe we've kind of hit the peak, and hopefully it's going down from there.
We can only pray.
Fairly certain that the Fed raised the rate another 50 basis points today.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not, I got a nice little headline. What is it? The buying sentiment. So people who believe like now is a bad time to buy has reduced. It's reduced from 80% of people think it's a bad time to buy down to 79.
To buy what?
To buy real estate, single family, like their primary residence. Yeah.
Well, also it has to depend on people. What are they doing with their next house?
Well, yeah, the people who wants to sell, and
if they're moving up or they're having to change jobs, or they don't have any choice if they're changing jobs and they have to move.
Yeah. Well, the sentiment of selling, the percentage of respondents who said it was a good time to sell increased from 51 to 54%. So 1% people think it's there's better time to buy, and 3% think it's a better time to sell. So maybe it's starting to move in that in a good direction.
I think as prices come down a little bit, that'll change, but it's really all going to be reflected in how much can I afford per month. So it really has a lot to do with interest rates. Interest rates come down.
$900 more per month is what it costs you.
Yeah. So we've already proven it doesn't matter how much the house costs. It's how much can I afford a month.
Mhm.
Yeah. What's the cash flow too?
Well, and on the investment side, yeah. What's the house produce? Yeah. So I mean, and that's we beat it into the ground all the time, but it's it's not what you sell the house for, it's what you buy it for. So there's still good deals out there. You just have to find the right motivated buyers or right motivated sellers rather, and apparently there's being a few more of those popping up.
Well, as a matter of fact, I've had deals literally dropping in my lap just this past week. And it's just amazing how it really just flipped so quickly. That's amazing and exciting. And I mean, and they're deals. Are
you getting these from wholesalers who have had, someone fail to close, or how are you sourcing these, or how are they dropping in your lap?
Well, when you're in the lending business, you kind of hear about deals first. And when people are backing off of them and don't want to buy them, their wholesalers are just reaching out to anybody else just so they don't lose the contract.
Yeah.
So a lot of that tends to occur pretty quickly. But just people I know, people I've been talking to saying, hey, if you want to sell it, I'm interested. And it's amazing how how it's really changed. Like I have 3 of them sitting here for this week that I'm pretty excited about. And Don Harris says he's 100% ready either way. I love that.
But Don's always that way.
Yes, he is. And he's always ready to go and ready to perform. We love Don Harris.
Oh, yeah.
So let's move on into our segment for this week. It's this time of the year when you want to start setting up your goals. We'll have our annual meeting in January, and each year we're setting up goals for the upcoming year, and you need to do that. I know it really is a pain. People hate it. Well, most people hate it. There are people that love setting goals. I'm not one of them.
I like it.
I like it too.
I like having a target.
I'll like last year when we set the goal of we wanted to fund $50 million in loans, and we set that when we set that, it was right around January of
the beginning.
And we're like, do you remember that meeting?
I thought you were nuts.
You're like, you and everyone else were like, oh, this is crazy. We're not going to hit.
There's no way. Why are we setting it up so high?
Because that year prior, we had just closed out at 33 million. I think it was 3 million.
That's right.
And they're like, we're not, like, you're not going to increase by 50%. Come on now. So it was like, we'll set it. And then we're closing out this year right at 80 million.
Yeah, that doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So we were sandbagging.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan, what were you doing? Well, the thing is, and we should, we're talking about this, but we should let people know we had an additional stream of income through a long-term product that we didn't have the previous year. We had just started the previous year. And that's really what we were thinking, or what you were thinking when you came up with that 50 million to be funded. So that did occur and did make a big difference, but the over and above didn't come from that. It came from really a different portion or a different segment of an asset that we really got much more into. And that's the small commercial type loans that we were doing.
And so, to break it down, we did 33 million last year in total originations. And if we break it out for this year, of that 80 million, 45 million is our short-term construction, fix and flip, small balance commercial. It's not the long-term loans that we added. So we almost hit 50 million with just what we do on the short-term side.
Right.
It's
Right.
phenomenal.
And if rates hadn't gone up in the middle of the year, we'd have really blown it out of the water.
Yeah. That's
It really
absolutely
slowed
true.
down that revenue stream because everybody kind of paused on, longer term stuff,
Yeah.
thinking it was going to go down, or I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of some of the other companies, other hard money lenders or private money lenders are running into, that were depending on those long-term DSCR products to grow. They did really well this past year too. A good majority of them are now out of business because those programs have been pulled. So, that's a great example of, be careful what you're concentrating on. You have to have the multiple streams of income to be able to turn that ship when it needs to be turned. And, I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen, especially in the first quarter coming up, because it from how it looks to me is we're just actually getting back onto the normal track of what it was 2 years prior, which is, it's going to slow down in the winter, the middle of February, light turns back on and things start to sell again. So I'm interested to see if that's the path that we're back on. It appears to be, but our sight is so short in front of us at this point that it's really a week to week. We don't know what's really going to go on, but that's kind of what we're planning on. That's what we're hoping on and planning on.
Yeah. And just to make sure that we keep with some additional revenue streams, I run down to the stoplight in front of our office at lunch and I clean people's windshields.
Got that big cup that says raising funds. We'll work for food.
Oh, man.
We're trying to grow that part of the business.
Yeah, but part of our goal setting and part of our overall goal is that we want to be, as much as we can be, in control of our destiny and in control of the returns to our investors. Now, Wendy alluded, these people who are going out of business on these DSCR loans and other brokering, they're dependent on somebody else to say yes, or to, here's the funding, here's your line of credit, what have you, warehouse facility, whatever it is. When you, like for us, when we run it through a fund model, we are in control of those funds and how they're allocated out, which also allows us to control the returns back to our investors. So, while these people are dropping on the DSCR programs and either other short-term programs, we're still able to keep moving forward, lending, and while also getting outsized double-digit returns to our investors.
Right.
So that's one of our goals and always has been. And that goal has, in I think a lot of people's eyes, kept us smaller than other people.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'd rather be smaller.
Smaller and solid. That's the key. The other thing too, that I think will pertain to a lot of people that are listening is, not only are we pretty vanilla in our lending category, but solid in that, but personally, our personal investments with the self-storage, and single family long-term rentals are, we've been building that as well. All of us individually, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days or long-term or Airbnb, whatever those models are. And we do all of those. It's important too, that we stay diverse in that market as well. Because you have to jump from what's hot to what's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have to be able to move, but all within the scope of what of your expertise in your lending. You don't want to just be jumping from place to place. What Wendy's saying is, you want to move. You have a couple different buckets that you have, and sometimes you fill one bucket, halfway, and sometimes you fill the other one up all the way, and you just move between those, depending on what the market's doing. They're both inside your wheelhouse. You're not just trying to go find a different bucket that you've never done before.
That's right.
All right.
You know, I like Scott's question over here. Are you setting weekly, monthly, annual, multi-year goals? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. We meet quarterly to change, to evaluate and change any goals or adjust goals that we may have. We also meet monthly, you know, for our financial and our dashboard to see what's going on there. And absolutely, we go multi-year. We have a 3-year target. We have a 1-year target. We have a 3-year target. We have a 5-year target. But that target's always moving because we have to adjust with what's going on in the market.
Yeah. And Bill,
I was just going to say,
I can feel him.
It's amazing he hasn't talked.
I'm learning. So you can get very granular with this too. So, you know, take that year-end goal and then break it down into 12 months. What you have to do to achieve that goal. And it's easy to go backwards. Once you set the goal, then figure out in smaller segments what you have to do to achieve that number.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the book, The Gap and the Gain. And I'm sorry I didn't have the author pulled up right in front, but while I'm doing this, the basics of the book, The Gap and the Gain, is that not enough people celebrate the smaller achievements. They'll set a goal, and I'll give you an example. Let's say your goal is to walk to the horizon. Well, we know you can continue to walk to the horizon and you're never going to get there. But when you turn around and look behind you, you've seen the progress you've made so far. And you need to celebrate those wins. Thank you, Scott. So Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. Funny enough, Benjamin Hardy was the keynote speaker at the CG this past couple of weeks ago.
I was just going to say my commentary on, you know, setting the goal for the horizon and looking back to appreciate, you know, that's actually, you know, setting an unattainable goal and looking back and seeing how you can never get there. Like you just saw all your failures when you look back. No, because you have progressed quite a bit. You just hadn't got to you that particular goal that you have. But this is a great short read, and I recommend it highly. If you are into Audible like I am, it's a couple of trips to work and back. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I like too, Jonathan, that you brought up failures. I hate to use that word failure because really it should be something that's a learning lesson. And so many people think that failures are bad.
No, they're great.
They're a great opportunity to learn and to move forward and to be more cautious. You know, we had issues from December 2017 through the entire year of 2018, having to take back a bunch of houses and all the disposition. And Don Harris was a big help in making that happen for us on the good side when we recovered. But it's been the best lesson that I walk with every day. You know, really, really, I refer to it every day in my brain. You know, what did I do then that we need to change now? Mm-hmm. So when you have these meetings, going back and looking at your wins is important, but looking at your losses and scars are really important because that's what will make you so much better. It's like shooting for the stars and coming up short, but you hit the moon. I love that.
Good job, Ron. That's why we call it failing forward.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is what you make of it. I mean, you know, every experience that happens, you get to choose how that shapes you. It can be your destruction, or it can be a propulsion forward. Just what do you want? How hungry are you? How important is that goal? You know, and one of the things that we do, and I think I hope a lot of people do, if you don't start, is when you set those, like, know what you're like. We'll talk about lending or real estate investing. Know what you want to invest in, and don't deviate from that.
Right.
Right. Like put it on your whiteboard, whatever you need to do to help it stay in front of you. Like keep it there, because you don't want to deviate from that, because as you start to deviate, not only do you lose your goal and sight of your goal and achieving it, you also find yourself in riskier unknown waters. So write your goal down, write what the asset you're after, or the mechanics of that asset and how you want to achieve it, and then keep it in front of you every day.
There was a panelist today that was asked the question, in real estate investing, there's so many things you can get into, and it clogs your brain. How do you guys stay on track? And the one guy said 2 letters, N and O. Learn how to use them together.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
So,
Well said.
it's important to set goals. If you don't set goals, guess what? You'll never achieve any of
It's a
them.
map. That's right.
You do need a rudder. We highly recommend the EOS system for those who are in business, even if you're just one person or a 3-person shop.
Mhm.
It helps you set up a matrix that you can follow, KPIs, so you know when you know what data to look at and see how you're achieving your goals.
What's KPI mean?
I forget.
Key performance
Thank you.
indicator.
I knew it was
And then that book to learn about EOS is by Gino Wickman, and it's called Traction.
Yeah, traction. Very good stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to know kind of your all's goals. If you want to set them in the comments or shoot them to us directly, we would love to know that, because we would love to be a part. If there's a way, your goals helping us achieve our goals.
And by the way, with that,
Yep, there it is.
we can help hold you accountable if you send them out to us and we put them out here in the ether. Then you have to keep up with them, right?
Or you sign up with the Wednesdays with Wendy. We can talk about your goals and
Yep.
You help
take it
people
from
get a
there.
plan together all the time, don't you?
all the time.
Yeah.
So we talk about BHAGs, which is your big, hairy, audacious goal.
That's right.
Let's hear what your BHAG is, and we'll make sure to help hold you accountable to them. All right,
Awesome.
you good?
I'm good. Are you good?
I'm really good.
You're better than me. You're in 80-degree weather.
Yeah, and I'm not coughing as much, so that helps.
That's good.
All right. Now
Nope,
that I
they
said
just
that,
said that.
all right, folks, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. We are, what are we?
Carolina Capital.
Yeah, I
Management.
know. I'm trying to do the damn, what do you call it? No, I'm not doing that one. Thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Show. Hard money for real estate investors. Now we are Carolina Capital Management, private lenders in the Southeast for real estate professionals. If you would like us to take a look at one of your projects, go to carolinahardmoney.com. Sorry, I didn't mean to mess you up, Scott. carolinahardmoney.com. Click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. See you guys next week.
Thanks.